Welcome to episode 10 of building this NX500. It's no secret that these A2 bikes are not the fastest machine on two wheels, but today we will do a bit of tuning to this NX500. This is something Maverick from 550 Performance have been cooking for months, and now we have something very interesting to show to you guys. So sit down, relax, and take a ride with me tuning this awesome little bike into something much more fun. So here's an overview of all the parts that we will be installing to this NX500. Power flow manifold kit to get much more airflow into the engine. Full exhaust system from Black Widow exhausts to let the engine breathe much more freely. Stage 1 tuned ECU. New breather assembly consisting of a breather filter, a coupler, catch can hose and a catch can cap. And last but not least, a new washable oiled main filter unit with a frog skin pouch to repel water. First, let's get rid of this heavy and restricting stock exhaust setup. Gaining access to the full airbox assembly, we need to take the tank off, which is luckily pretty easy to do in the NX500. Removing the side plastics is advisable, but I really didn't even need to do that. I just cracked them open like this. First, you need to remove the two hoses in the front of the tank. After that, you get a pretty easy access to the electronics and the fuel hose. Let's first get this snorkel out, like so. There it goes. There's the lid. Take the filter out. My bike is pretty new, so the filter is still in a pretty good condition. Already from here I can see the intake snorkels. But next we will need to remove the whole assembly here, all the way from here. So the whole box needs to come out. Hopefully I will be able to fit this out of the frame without any hassle. Yeah, this kind of tool really helps. The one on the left side is even more annoying to place. But I think we can get it out. Alright, there's some kind of a trick to get this out. Of course, Honda made this 2 millimeters too narrow. I'm not sure how much you can see that down there, but there is the velocity stack right there, and it's attached with 3 screws. So I'm gonna try to remove those screws, and let's see if it comes loose when I get those out. It does, perfect. And the screws are not loose. It's out. Of course I wasn't filming, but yeah, you do have to remove this rear section before you can get to the first one. So I should have taken this out. I was just hoping that there would be a non-violent way of getting this out without pulling it forcefully. But as you can see, it does create some scratches here on the side because this bracket is too close. But actually when I pulled it away from the front section and just pulled it up with a bit of force, it did come out relatively easy. So I don't think you're gonna break this even if you do the same way I did. But it is really tight. I can't believe Honda engineers just put this bracket here. It could be in a different direction, so this would be easier to remove, but it is what it is. And now this should come out just pulling it backwards. Like so. Easy, easy peasy. This is just a plug that connects to the airbox. It has nothing to do with the airbox, so you just have to find a place to zip tie it close somewhere to the bike, but I'm not worried about that. All right, there is the air intake. This can go back like so that I don't forget it. A bit careful with this. So don't use a screwdriver or anything to get this out. Try to keep this intact. Looks good. Now we can reuse this. So here you have to cap this pipe, and this is provided with the 550 performance kit. Just put it there. And this hose coming from the top of the engine, you just cut about here in the middle. Yeah, that should be okay. Like so. Nice and easy. And this is provided by Maverick for 550, although I did steal this lower tube, which is angled from the stock airbox. But you can use the one that Maverick from 550 Performance brings you with the box, or just steal this from the OEM. I just wanted to use this because this is angled, and I feel like it's gonna fit there a bit easier than the straight pipe that Maverick gave me. All right, the first start with the tune. It's been a long day, so I'm stuttering and I can't speak anymore. Whew. But everything is now in the bike. Everything should be working correctly. This is the first start, and I'm more than interested in hearing how the bike sounds, especially the intake now. You can definitely hear it.
Beautiful.
The next day I tried servicing the filter without taking the tank out, or even the tank tubes out. And as you can see from the pictures, it is pretty easy to get access to this new filter. So servicing is definitely not an issue. I've been testing the best way to disable ABS on this bike, and as far as I know, this is the best way to do it. I'm installing a switch that will directly cut the power from the ABS motor. Reason to not just cut the ABS front or rear sensor is that cutting either one of those sensors will also cause the engine light to come on. ABS motor line is behind a 30 ampere fuse, so I used 2.5mm cables to reroute the line via this 50 ampere rated switch on the dashboard. The switch is not beautiful, but it works. If you decide to do this to your bike, please do it at your own risk, because this is affecting the brakes. It's very important to do it safely or not to do it at all.
Alright, let's have a quick test ride on the freshly tuned NX500. See how it feels and see how it sounds. With the new air intake, the full exhaust system by Black Widow exhausts. Let's see. Definitely sounds really rowdy with this exhaust, but I kind of like the sound on this. Let's take the traction control off. I can definitely notice that the power band on the middle of the RPMs is stronger. A bit more grunt right after 4000 RPM at least. So the power band is a lot more usable. You can feel the torque difference in the mid RPM range. It is noticeable. Yeah, it pulls the back wheel loose a bit easier, and the power comes in a bit earlier. I can definitely notice that the torque has been raised quite a bit from the stock bike, which was exactly kind of the thing that I was missing on this bike. Yeah, the engine is much more humble servant for me right now. I can be a lot more aggressive with this. Like I said, it's not a night and day difference, but you can definitely notice that there's a bit more grunt, especially on the mid RPM range from 4 to 6000. And getting the back end loose with this tuned bike is much easier just using the throttle. Yeah, actually now I kind of want to test out the ABS as well. So let's test the ABS switch. So I noticed that I have a hard time stopping the bike. So yeah, this is how it works. Now that I disable the motor, I only get this flashing ABS sign. But if I disable either the front or the back sensor, the ABS sensor, it's gonna give me an engine light error, which is definitely not something that we want. But now that I disable the motor, I get this flashing ABS, which is just nice to have. It's just reminding me there that it is disabled. So That's how easy it is to disable the ABS on the NX500. Not the easiest bike, but it's doable. And one nice thing about the exhaust change is that the stock exhaust was always in my way of my boot. But the new exhaust is not hitting my heel, so I can get a better position on the bike standing on these pegs. Yeah, getting rid of the ABS is definitely nice, especially going a bit harder here, because the brakes now actually work. I'm gonna do the performance test in an airfield later on this episode. But this was just me quickly having a feel with the new fresh tune, and the bike definitely feels more sprightly. This bike is starting to be pretty ready. Technically, I don't have much coming to this bike anymore, but there's still some stickers and stuff like that I need to visually change to the bike. But now the bike starts to feel exactly like it was intended to feel. Oh yeah, I'm starting to enjoy this a lot. Only thing is that the ABS cannot be disabled from the rear alone, so you have to disable the full ABS system like I did here. That's not a big deal, but you just have to be a bit more careful with the front brake doing off-road, because everything is disabled now. Oh, this is a muddy track right now. It's been raining for days, so it's really slippery. Oh yeah, the bike feels really nice compared to the bigger adventure bikes like the Tenere 700 and Touareg 660 and those kind of bikes. This bike feels light on its feet. It feels like it's not as big of a monster as those other mid-size adventure bikes. Like we just weighed in my friend's bike, which is pretty much similarly equipped with the protection, and the bike was about 20 kilos heavier than this. Of course, I haven't weighed this bike on the scale yet after the project is done, because I still have some things to do, but yeah, the bike definitely works really nicely. One thing I do have to say though, if I turn this on right now when the bike is running, the ABS is not gonna come back. So let me show you. As long as I have the key in the ignition and the key is turned on, even though my wheels are turning and the power is back to the ABS motor, it doesn't bring the ABS back. So what I have to do is I have to stop the bike, turn the bike off, turn the bike on, and then start riding. And now I have the ABS back on. So minor inconvenience, but it's not a big deal. And I can always disable the ABS even when I'm moving. I don't have to stop like the old Tenere system. I just flick this switch back off, and now I can just drift my back wheel and the ABS is completely disabled. And the same thing with the traction control. On, off, on, off. Really easy, really nice. So, what's my conclusion? More nippy, especially at the mid-range where this bike benefits greatly. Washable filter instead of the stock paper unit, and easier filter changes in my opinion, as the stock filter is kind of in a tight spot and you have to take the battery out to get access to that one. Last but not least, about 6 kilograms lighter bike, so that's not a benefit that you want to overlook. Overall, I think this is a very beneficial little tune, and you can pick yours from 3 different stages from the 550 Performance website. Info in the description. But next Friday I will post an episode where I will actually interview Maverick from 550 Performance, and there we will surely discuss a little bit more about the tune on this bike as well. So subscribe to see the next week's episode. Glad you stayed all the way to the end, and like always, see you on the next episodes.